Okay, so a composition of functions. A composition of functions means you're actually going to substitute one function into another. You're going to actually plug in the entire function into another function. So you'll see that written as something like this. Oops. F of g of x. So on the last page, we just saw f of -7/4 or f of 2 or whatever you're plugging in. So we were taking that -7/4. We were taking that 2 and we were plugging it into the function. Well, now this f of g of x is saying we're going to take the whole g of x and plug it into f. You might also see it written like this, f with a little o, g, and we put that in parentheses, of x. So those mean the same exact thing. And composition of functions order depends totally on how the problem is given to you. So you might actually see g of f of x or g of f of x. So you have the notation both ways. I really prefer this notation here because it's actually showing you that the g function is going inside of f. So what I tell my kids to do when you see that little tiny o, go ahead and just swap that into parentheses, and now you see which function is going inside what. Same thing here. You can see that the f function is going to go inside of the g function. So when you see this g of f notation, go ahead and change that into the one with the parentheses, so you can see that f is going inside of g. So let's go ahead and try this. Looking at example A, we see h of k of x. So what does that mean? That means k of x is going inside of h. So let's first identify exactly what k of x is. You can see here that k of x is equal to 2x plus 7. So what does that mean? That means we're going to take h of 2x plus 7. So that should look more familiar now what exactly we're going to be plugging in. So now we're going to look at our h function, which is 2x squared. And everywhere there's an x, we're actually going to plug in 2x plus 7 because this 2x plus 7 is what our input is. So I'm going to take h of x, which is 2 times, now I'm inputting that k function, so 2x plus 7, and that's going to be squared. Now this squared right here, this means we actually have to FOIL. So we're going to rewrite this as 2 times 2x plus 7, 2 times. And then we're going to multiply that. So we're going to have this 2 still hanging out on the outside. I'm going to multiply these first two together, and I'm going to get 4x squared. And then I'm going to multiply my outers. So 2x times 7 is going to be 14x. Then I'm going to multiply the inners and get another 14x. And then multiply the last ones to get 49. So you want to definitely make sure you FOIL that very, very carefully. Don't just distribute that exponent. That's what I like to call bad math. So go ahead and combine these like terms here, and we'll distribute that 2. So we'll have 2 times 4x squared, adding these like terms to give us a 28x plus 49. And then finally we're going to distribute that 2 to all three pieces inside to give us a final answer of 8x squared plus 56x plus 98. All right, so now we're going to do example B, which is k of h of x. And if you're not sure which function goes inside which one, like I said, you want to just go ahead and strike right through that little circle and put parentheses around it so you can see that the h function is actually going to go inside of k. So decide what that h function is, and that is 2x squared. So what does that mean? That means my k function, everywhere there's an x, I'm going to now substitute in 2x squared. So I am going to do k of 2x squared because h of x is 2x squared. So I'm going to take, so my k of x function is 2x, which now my x is 2x squared, plus 7. So I'm going to be careful here to use my order of operations. This x squared, that's not actually any sort of exponent that I can do anything with. All I'm going to do is multiply my 2's together to get a 4x squared plus 7. I can't combine any like terms. There are no like terms, so that is my final answer. And the last example, C, h of x. That means I'm going to take the h of x function, I'm going to plug it back into itself. So I know that h of x is 2x squared. So I'm going to take h of 2x squared because the h of x function is equal to that. So now I'm going to take 2x squared and plug it in for x everywhere there's an x in my h function. So 2 times x, which is now 2x squared because that's my input, squared. Now I'm going to use my properties of exponents to make sure that I square everything in the parentheses here. So I'm going to have 2 times 4x to the 4th. Okay, because what this really means is it really means that I have 2x squared times 2x squared. So the 2 times the 2 is what gave me this 4 here, and then x squared times x squared is what gave me x to the 4th power. Last thing I'm going to finish off is multiply my 2 times 4 to give me 8x to the 4th.